looking good. Come on. Come on, go, 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 go.
Hey guys, this is Kirob speaking, and today we are back in automation with the fastest car in the world challenge. What would have happened if Duesenberg didn't go the way of the dodo? We have arrived in the 1960s and are preparing our record-breaking car for 1970. How fast can we go? We shall find out today. First things first, let's get an overview of how things have been going. You see that green curve up here? It always being above the red one? Yeah. That means we are very, very nicely situated for financials, and that profit per month does bode well. Where are we at with our engine development? Well, we have something going here until the end of 1963. Let's really quickly check it out, just so that we get our bearings back at what this thing is. And it does look like it is a reasonably powerful engine. Well, then it says it's knocking, but it really isn't. But 1,743 horsepower at 8.5. That is a lot. And now you would think everything is going to be just fine. Oh, how we were mistaken. Oh my god. Because let me point you to one number. Welcome to Sandbox. Yeah, so that's the car I wanted to choose, right? So that's a really good choice because it has a massive engine bay. So, what about that engine, Kirob? What about it? It doesn't fit. That is... By how much, you ask? How much? How much? I ask you, how much? By that much? Oh no! 0.3 millimeters! So what we're doing now then is look for another car. And I had one in mind for the 1980s to use, which fortunately does appear in 1970. 3 meter wheelbase coupe, and it's a little chunky, but who am I to criticize that, right? So with my massive engines. Let's check it out. Yeah, not a problem whatsoever. Our current body tech year is 1964, so we have another 6 years to add to that, or well, less than 6 years. Like 4 years to add to that. And once we arrive here, there we see it. There it is. And there we have our beautiful coupe sitting right there. That's the one that we want to get to. We need to unlock it as early as possible, because there's going to be a hefty amount of aero development that needs to be put into it. That feels slightly unnecessary for a 0.3 millimeter mistake that was made. Also, what we of course need to consider is that we want to put more into, everything. So what is going to be the first deed of the day beyond noticing that we royally messed up? And by we, I mean just me. Yes, I think a facelift is in order for the Topaz, because that is design year 1955, and last time I checked, we were still in 1960. So let's get that going. I really wonder how long we will be able to just continue facelifting this one, because it's such a simple car. I'm also at the same time updating the Dart 4. As you can see, just this change here from reducing springs and lifters from 50 down to 28, because with a little bit more quality you can get away with a lot of things. With the rebalance of gearboxes, I think we can stay with manual. Previously, with the old balance, I would have said like, probably have to switch over to automatic, but now manuals just make a lot of sense, especially if you're selling to Achana and Fruinia mostly. And that's nice. It is the first chance we get at getting some familiarity for solid disc brakes. And of course semi-clad, because that is a thing now. And one that is going to be quite expensive. Also switching over to advanced 60s safety. That's a neat one. For our little sports engine that we put into the Topaz sporty variant, light sports variant, we could put on DCOEs. We do have so much familiarity already in these things, it's amazing. And you know what we could do here? just start engineering for this one, the clutched LSD, because that is giving us familiarity for the thing that is supposed to not take too much time later this decade. And now all of them are updated. New engine as well. Let's see how quickly we can engineer this stuff. Ooh, yeah, that's a bit more hefty. 8 million cost, 40 months. I think that's still within reach of the old ones selling well enough for our means. Yeah. Well, there's a small issue here. The issue is that we don't have a medium plot. And, well, we can just continue using small factories, but at least one of them should be upgraded, I would say. I would prefer to upgrade the Dalluha one, but that would mean that we need to get more staff, and that usually takes a few years at that scale. At this point, we would be basically employing half of Dalluha, 511 people. Now that is what I call profit. It's looking very green for us. This is going to cost us 34 million in total, and we don't need a loan right now, not with this income. And now we just need to let it run. Let's see how it goes. I think we have a problem. The problem is we're making way too much money. This is the increase in my R&D budget there that you see there. There's a little jump. I think we have to be a little bit more aggressive. Alright, +5 in fuel systems definitely does the trick in making things expensive. Let's go with that. And again, that's just a minor bump in the road. I'm going to up the maximum shifts for my main factories that are producing the Topaz because I can't keep up with pre-orders. Also, why not make a facelift of the Beryl? Because that's still selling somehow. And here I'm going to make the switch to forged components. Well, we do need the familiarity for them. Now look at this upgrade. Now that's a nice difference. Makes for a good luxury engine. The sporty version of this Dart 6 has become quite spicy. I'm switching over to DCOE's triple carb, so carb per cylinder. And of course switching to forged components. You see the difference overall in the engine here, it's like a whole new world. I need to be really careful where I want to place these. This is a great placement for the convertible sports version. It's basically a supercar at this point. Ouch, ouch, yeah. 40 months of engineering for the automatic. I think I'll skip that and go back to the manual. We can get away with a engineering time of 27 months each, but just barely, even reducing some tooling on the engine. And this is where the contract factory comes in again, because Forge Works is not something that we would like to pay on our own factory. We just get it for free here. Oh wow, I'm kind of happy that I'm keeping this one around, because I don't want to pass on 95 million until mid 1960s. A cost of just 10 million? Hell yeah. Oh, you know what we could do? I'm starting to think in some tricky ways again. What we could do is, until the Warthog comes out, we could make a little prototype engine. Like a prototype engine that gives us familiarity in new tech. Like, for instance, mechanical fuel injection. Don't know if that is going to be enough to engineer until the 70s in the proper one, but I think it's worth giving it a try. Let's call it the prototype sandbox engine. Maybe we find something that's actually really good. And of course it needs to be a V16, because that is where we want to have... Oh, block material. Do we actually want aluminium here? Overhead cam, dual overhead cam even, 4-valve, and then aluminium head, because that is very important to get even more power. Of course, we are going to use the forged components. We do need all the familiarity that we can get. Ooh, now that is hefty engineering time. 93 months. Ouch. 114 months. Let's see if we can get that down. Ah, there you see. It's not that bad. Yeah, we can deal with this. This is almost all familiarity, and considering that we're not going to keep this engine, that's perfectly fine. And now I've lowered family quality by another 2 points, and that is looking pretty much spot on. 8.2 million. That seems like a good prototype project to me. 35 months. Yes, let's sign it off. When you have too much money, you have other problems too, like paying taxes. And that's not great. I think we need to find a way around that. And how about if this is going so well, like look at the pre-orders. Remaining pre-orders already in the thousands. And it's still like 1.5 years until the car releases. So I think we might need a medium factory sooner or later. So what I'm going to do is to build a factory without any tooling for now and place it in Florenia. I think that is a solid baseline to work from. Some more quality in the workers just helps our prestige rating and so on. So medium size, we're not going to go for large in the late game, I don't think. And we just leave the plot empty with an empty tiny factory on it. And that will cost us just in total 13 million. That's mostly the plot. Take no loan and sign it off. And I'm just checking in with our tech, and it looks like we're going to have about 6 years worth of engineering to get to that 1970s car body for our next car. So that's going to be pretty solid. I think that's enough time. And there we have it, the big release. Doesn't look good on our financials, but I think that is going to turn around. I hope. Oh yes! I'm even upping the prices. I forgot to do that in the forecast before. But that is looking extremely nice. Oh, in all that, I forgot all about the Beryl. We had a facelift for that one as well, and it has minus 10 stock months. It is selling really well. Alright, those profits are insane. We need to do something with this. We did have enough loss here towards the end of, or towards the start of 1963 to not pay overly much in taxes, but we need to convert this into potential future gains. And look at this. I mean, minus 10 and minus 6. What is the trajectory here? Let's wait a month and see. So, slightly going down, ever so slightly going down. Ooh, okay. Just saw this. That means we are ready to go. It is the fastest car in the world. One thing to keep an eye on is the lightweight forged. It's still a year out. Well, that's not great, but if we make a short facelift of the prototype, so make a prototype 2 basically, and there we have it. The car that fits the massive engine that is 0.3 millimeters too large. What a beast. And it's so nice to have a little bit of chassis quality, because that is giving us, well, a much faster base engineering time for this. And look how it fits. It is absolutely beautiful. Oh, wow. Okay, our prototyping projects, and this one, of course, they have helped. We already have 40% familiarity for the forged components. And I think a lot of this is going to carry over to the lightweight forged stuff, because they are tightly linked. So that does bode well for including those. This engine already has insane quality, like plus 12 for the top end. What madness is this going to be once it's done? Unfortunately, also what I'm noticing is that this engine is pretty much at its limit. We could rev slightly higher, which we are definitely going to do. Let's see. Oh. Did I say limit? I meant it's just starting. There's another resonance up there. And now we need to check out if we need to go for the injection. And whoa! Our little prototyping project that we made already has made it such that we have 26% familiarity with the system. So with 1,942 horsepower right there, that is impressive. We do, just by switching over, we already gain a fair amount of power. 2,074 horsepower. That was with valve float, by the way. Okay. And even semi-clad already has 26%. Okay, for a just first way through, this doesn't look all too terrible. One thing that I forgot was 6 quality right there. What is the body slipperiness? 0.25. Well, it isn't anymore after you've put on all that cooling, because even at 0, the cooling effective area is as much drag as a very optimized car itself. So that is one problem that we do have. Just in general, lots of power means lots of drag, because you need to cool it, even when you try to not to. Oh yes, we have the potential acceleration of 0.3 Gs here. And what we get out of it is absolutely nothing. So I think wings are in order. And of course, we can't just have one in the back. We do need one in the front as well, because those are flying speeds. Yeah, we're getting closer. Getting closer. I still haven't run it on the course, but this, you see, the curves are approaching. Alright, should we give this a go? I mean, is that 500k? It has some pull, alright. Yep. 450. It is significantly faster than 490, 491. Okay. That's not a bad first try. Now I'm just sanity checking the engine. And it looks like bottom end is going to be a bit of a problem, but top end isn't. So that's good news. Fuel system. Gotta reduce quality to start it out if we want to have a quick turnover on the first iteration of this engine. And can I spend a little bit of money to get it done faster? 18 months? Yep, I think that's fair. And now I'm going to make some of the other trims. And the great part about choosing this body is that we do have plenty of choice here that is including some sedans that are going to fit more than just 2.5 people in there. Oh yes, this is looking really good. Well, it still looks like we are going to be able to sell some cars of this record breaker, which I have diffused a little for this facelift. And in case you wonder what I'm using here, of course it's the Dart 6. That is what we recently revamped, and it does the job perfectly. From these numbers, I would expect us to be producing out of a small one, not a tiny factory. Let's see if that holds up. Yeah, that's looking good. I think we can take about 4 years for this one. Then we have another 2 years to implement any new significant changes and upgrade these stats right here. They are a little bit on the low side still, but overall, it's quite nicely spread out, apart from the engine fitting. But we don't have to repay that because the engine is already in. And that one will have to be put in again in its latest iteration when time has come. Oh, that's right. We did set our factory to be built on a small plot, so we can just upgrade the Forenia Special size to a small one instead. Oh, wow, okay. I did not expect this to be so good. This is going to make us a lot of money as well. But now, extremely importantly, that mistake we cannot make. So first, we need to sign off the engine. And that's no loan, it's just 8 million. Sign off the selected projects, yes. And now we sign off this one, because now it has a signed off engine that it wants to use. And that is now possible. So just no loan, 21 million. Yep, sign it off. Oh yeah, the sandbox prototype engine is complete. And we're going to make a facelift of it to finish right with the Warthog. And there you have it, nicely aligned. I just need to sign it off as well. Do you see this? Do you see this tiny slice of the pie? I think it's a little too tiny by now. You should at least put like 10 to 20% of your cash into marketing. Putting on a massive buff in general, also to company reputation and prestige. Some of you might wonder what these are about. They directly increase this. And these then go ahead and directly increase your desirability in various demographics. So it's very important to have good ratings there. And they come partially from just being good. And by good, I mean having good build quality and stuff. So not these directly, but these definitely help. Oh, okay. Well, our engine's just finished, both of them. The sandbox engine and the proper one. But what I'm seeing is that we already have a ridiculous amount of pre-orders for our luxury cars. And now we want to create a facelift for our engine that is finishing up in 1267. I think that's doable. We do have lightweight forged available, and it does help. It definitely does help. It's in the conrods, yes. So, you see how much reliability we're gaining. We do have 29% familiarity, but this is going to take a while to engineer, I guess. If we can crank this out there, we have 2,200 horsepower in this thing. That's no problem whatsoever. We can have more. Alright, I need to show you something. That thing down there is our current record-breaking car. This here is our new engine. And it's not finished. 2,250. And now this is aligning nicely. Beautifully done. 30 months of engineering time. Always thinking ahead. What car body are we going to use for the next record-breaking car? I think these look rather juicy, don't they? And especially this one. I do wonder though how much of an engine it fits. So that is what I'm going to try out in Sandbox now. Well, that looks like it does need some tweaking. But that body does fit a decent sized engine and lure arrows too. Because what we see here is that we can fit a 97 bore in there. That's pretty solid. A slight problem will be that quad turbo does take a lot of space. Alright, we need to talk. We really need to talk. I think I've figured something out. It just took me 45 minutes. So, to summarize it, what is keeping you in the end from achieving much higher speeds? But part of the thing is that you just don't have enough gearing. That means that you need to rev high. What revs high? Definitely not large engines. How do you get smaller engines to produce a lot of power? Well, you boost them, of course, right? So that's pretty simple. How do you then move the maximum power up in the torque curve? Well, by having very high tunes and using the very last resonance of the headers and the intakes. That all boils down to we probably shouldn't be using the biggest engines. And while I do have 97 or whatever it was millimeters of allowance for that body, I think I'm going to build something that is quite a bit smaller than this. I have started building the RB Ultimate 1. The purpose of this engine is to be reused. And it is so small, it just has a bore of 80, that it can be reused and fit into quite a lot. Well, relatively. We're starting also with a bore with a stroke of 105 because that allows us to add as we desire. This doesn't matter. As long this is just the maximum that you can go to. Also, block material, cast iron, because I think what we're going to do is, well, first of all, we do have much higher familiarity for that, so that's important. But what we're going to do in the long run is to put the engine behind the driver, not in front of the driver, because we don't want to have that hunk of chunk of steel in the front. we want it to be there where it provides grip to the tires. That's another limiting factor. We do want to limit the use of aerodynamics. So we can make it heavy, and that's fine, but we do want to have the head material be aluminium, because that gives you extra octane to use. Very important, that too. And then the last thing is that we want to start out with a as high as possible family quality for the engine. This is just the RB Ultimate 1. I think what we're going to make is an RB Ultimate 2. And that one will take a while, because instead of plus 12, it will need to go to plus 15. A 6.9 liter. That's tiny. Alright, so as you see, it's just taking us 110 months. Oh my. And reducing family quality by another 2 to just plus 10 gets us the same thing in basically no time. So what is making us money? The towpath is, and it is already mid-65. So how about a facelift, which I've just done here, and we are again filling the markets with really competitive cars. Also, we are going to supposedly sell a ton of them, over 1,000 per month, like 1,200, 1,300. So it is time to reinvest our well-earned money and put it all into a medium factory. 30 months of engineering time, both for the Dart 4 update as well as, oh, that one has now a 4-barrel carburetor for the sports version, and a total of 30 months here as well. So that's looking good. Factory setup already done as well. Frenia is getting a new factory. The plot that we purchased now has a medium, or will have a medium factory on it, medium 1. At the same time, we're going to update the Dalluha engine factory, so small 3 in Dalluha, and that should satisfy the need of the medium 1. And I think here you can see why I want to do this. 480 million in profits projected for 5 years. I think for this one I am going to take out a loan. Something like 80% coverage. That should get rid of our profits right there, so that we don't have to pay taxes, and also just shift any kind of risk towards the future. Oh, got another problem. Do you see this? They want our cars, and we have basically no production assigned to it. That's currently made in a small factory. Like, these have a delivery delay penalty of 70 and 80%. That's insane. Test string 13228. I don't think we want that. And only do these two. And I have found a bug. Oh, that's beautiful. I'm already building the car that is still in engineering and selling it to people. I think they will be delighted. Okay, so now everything should be back to working. And let's set up our final car for this decade. The speedy one. The record breaker. So for that, we're going to replace the Prototype 3 with the not Prototype 4. Do you see the dashed line in there? That's the, I think that's the Dart 4. It's just a flat line down there. A little dashed and cute. Okay, slight problem. If we want to create that engine, build it in a contract factory, it just costs us 77,000 bucks. I think that's slightly on the expensive side. Oh, this bodes well. It already says 487 here, and I'm just trying to get the right combination of wing angles so that we have good grip till the end. And it's time to run this thing. Yes! 5:15. That is quick. One thing I can't forget now is to turn back on at least one of the factories to produce the record-breaking car, because otherwise we just have a very fast design. You see that? 75% of the cost is the engine and 25% the car. Well, that's about right, I guess. 100k. And that is looking good for a forecast. 340 million profit within 5 years. I somehow doubt it, but that's looking the right direction. And this one is supposed to be finished in 969. That means we have a few months to actually sell that car. The facelift only costs us 21 million. That's perfect. So yeah, let's go. We're making so much money. Like, what is 5 million per month in profits. And turbo's almost unlocked. So that's close. Oh, yes. Slight issue here. Oh, we can pay that in cash. That's peanuts now. 300k, 350k in total. So here we go. And pause it right away. Have we actually delivered anything? No, pre-order. We have just pre-orders so far, of course. So I don't think these are going to be built unless we pause the others. So just to be sure, in the first month, only the record-breaking trim will be built. And there we have it. 57 were delivered. That means it counts. It is January of 1970. It is time to calculate our speed score. But first we shall confirm what speed we actually reached. So our benchmark for today is the Ferrari GT4 Berlinetta Boxer. And reached a top speed of 175 miles an hour or 282 kilometers an hour. So I think that's just about to be broken here.
And off we go. Still spacing strong. Come on. There's a little bit of track left. We can do it. Oh, 514. It has dropped by 1 kilometer an hour for whatever reason. But that's fine. Good we checked. And of course the calculation is simple. 514 minus 282 equals 232. 232 kilometers an hour faster than the fastest car in the world. And that needs to be now divided by 2 or multiplied by 0.5. So we get a speed score of 116. And with that, I have to point you down towards the links in the description below this video, because there are others playing this challenge as well, and you should check them out. Anyway, if you enjoyed, please like the video, and of course, I shall see you guys next time.